Yeah, baby. Welcome back. Hello there. Hello. Welcome back to Jay's Rock and Roll Stories. I'm your host, Jay. I haven't seen you in over a month. I'm sorry. To tell you the truth, this book is just doing a number on my freaking head, dude. Okay, I'm saying it straight out right now. It's only gonna get worse. Okay. Warning, do not have your kids around with this episode. Warning, do not have your kids around with this episode. No grandparents either. Don't give grandma a break. Cut grandpa some slack. Don't have kids, don't have grandparents around this episode. All right, welcome back. We're just jumping back into story of Cosey Fanni Tutti, part 3. Let's just jump right in. 1975. All right, Genesis Peorage gets a gig, gets a working job doing a book publication, and the book is about 1,350 artists to do like sort of like an expose on these artists. So that's using up all of his time. So it kind of gets him out of Chrissy's hair. And Chrissy can concentrate on doing her other stage stuff and her, photography. So she's getting more and more into more expressive stage content, So her and Chris are using like chains. They go to Germany and they start using like hitting each other with chains, like, drawing blood. March 1975, Germany. They performed to 1,500 people. The show is, they piss on each other. She sticks candles into her vagina. They're whipping each other. And they get treated they get put up in like a vacant building. Like, oh, thanks for the show. Here, we got a place for you to stay. It's just like a vacant, derelict building, and it's kind of depressing. So they just spend their time walking around the red light district in Germany. And now Cosey starts doing porn, and she uses like kind of like an antiquated term, blue movies. She's doing blue movies, which is not like hardcore stuff. It's more just like getting naked, She starts, her first movie is called Pussies Galore. And she says when she told Jen, it excited him. Like it was like every time she would do some sort of session, a blue movie, she would come home and Jen is Genesis Peorage, and he would say, "Come, give me every detail, give me every single detail," putting in like the wank bank probably, right? All right. But Chrissy states that there was no pleasure, love, or desire involved. It was just simply a descriptive job like sex. That's it. And she wondered what risks she was exposing herself to, because this stuff she was doing is illegal. And a lot of times people, like other girls that are doing the same thing, or other little production companies, would get raided and they would get fucking busted. So anyway, Cosey gets very comfortable doing porn. She prefers working with familiar faces, like, the same guy or the same woman. And she does stand-ins for other women, like, I don't know, you could call it like a close-up or something, because it's not on the face. You can't tell who it is. So she prefers to do that. Here's a diary entry, April 26th of 1975. Jen had a freak out tonight and pushed me into the water heater. It hurt my knee, and he tried to kick the television in. Well, telly, she calls. I have a couple of big bruises, but what's more is that it hurts really bad. So she's covered in bruises, and she's resulting from this is she can't get work, because no one is going to take bruised up women to do these little porno, these little blue movies. And the only company at the time is Playboy, who's doing, airbrushing. So she loses work with bruises all over her body. So she dedicates back her time to Cum, her art, her music art. So they're doing this live act called the Amp Action. And here's a quote. All right, working out ideas, making the main prop for Amp Action a long, ritualistic looking 5-foot long wooden pole studded with 5-inch sharp nails, feathers, and with a black dildo at each end. All right, what do we do with that thing? The action took place with me wearing a studded G-string, and I'd make the black strap-on dildo. Oh, she's wearing a black strap-on dildo, and Jen in black leather trousers, and he's wearing an eye patch. So that as the action came to an end, we picked up one end of the stick, each, and inserted the dildos, me into my vagina and Jen into his anus. And so she said the room was very quiet. No one seemed to want to comment. And Tom, who was supposed to document it, didn't take a single photograph. I think everyone's just sitting there going, "What the fuck?" Because look, it's not. The pole has nails coming out of it. The pole has feathers on it. Oh, Jesus. How much was a ticket to that thing, you know? So I guess nobody took any pictures of the thing. Oh, that's a bummer, right? This book is fantastic. But this book is also a thorn in my side because there's I stopped taking notes. You know why? Because I would be paraphrasing the entire book. Every single page is this. Every single page is, good Lord. All right, so moving on here. Let's see. So, Throbbing Gristle becomes a complete band, right? This is 1975-76. It's Cosey, Genesis Peorage, John, and Chris. They work well together. They get gigs. They're doing group sex. They all like doing group sex together. And I guess Chrissy and Chris, Cosey and Chris, they fall in love. They really, really like each other. And they like hooking up, but Genesis puts an end. She's like, no, I can't have you like going with just him. If you're going to do this, you're going to do a group thing. So they're like, all right, well, we can at least be together doing the group thing. Also, another thing, there's she gets Chrissy gets these prank phone calls from what she refers to as this guy named Jeff. Like, you know, the guy will call and just say dirty stuff, and she kind of turned it around, like, all right, keep going. Like, what, really? Yeah, go ahead, keep saying it. Oh, okay. You know, when they finish, she's like, when can I call you again? She was kind of toying with the guy, but after a while, she's like, don't ever call me again. Like, okay, I'm enough with this like amateur bullshit. When can I call you back? Anyway, don't call me ever again, she tells him. 1976, Throbbing Gristle is invited to play at an exhibition, and they need the band. They need a band to open for them. So this guy called John Crevine started and managed a band called LSD, and this guy, John Crevine, is kind of similar to Malcolm McLaren, where he has a shop and he has a band. Malcolm McLaren, if you listen to this podcast, you know that the New York Dolls, you know, he has the shop, he manages the band. So this guy, John Crevine, he has a band called LSD, and the leader of LSD is this guy named Bill Broad. And Chrissy's talking about how she and Bill Broad were walking to a rehearsal, and they're working together, working on how to improve his Elvis sneer. Bill Broad is Billy Idol, which is kind of cool, because like she helped him come up with that, like, you know, Billy Idol, he has that, you know, that little Elvis thing he does. So it's kind of interesting. It's all very connected. It's all very incestuous how it comes in play with all the punk bands and stuff. Genesis is always he has always has side girlfriends, and I don't know if you know about much about the whole punk rock scene '76, but he dates Sue Catwoman. If that means nothing to you, then whatever. Who gives a shit? All right, here, journal entry, November 23, 1976. All right. She says, well, about half the people walked out on the performance, the first time ever. Can't be bad. I syringed my pussy, stitched my arm. We ended up all locked up together, lying in Jen's piss, blood, and vomit. Yeah. All right. She also states those who stayed versus those who bailed, those who left. Right. The people who stayed and like round of applause. They're like, this is awesome. And she points out that this was people are starting to like what we do. So the book talks about how there's like Genesis is going out with Sue Catwoman. Like, look it up. Sue, S-O-O, Sue Catwoman. You'll see a picture of you'll be like, oh, I've seen that before. She dates Sue Catwoman, and it really sucks because Chrissy will come home and Sue Catwoman's there in bed, smoking a cigarette, and Genesis looking at Chrissy like, hi, welcome home, and knowing that the rule is no smoking in the house. Like, it's like Genesis is a fucking asshole, dude. So anyway, Throbbing Gristle put together their own record company called Industrial Records, and that's where this term industrial came from. So this whole idea about industrial, this is her quote. She says, "We didn't want followers. We wanted people to think for themselves, to follow their instincts, to be creative, to be industrious in their approach. That's what industrial meant. It was about adopting a work-in-life ethic, to be active, productive throughout, and committed." I think that's great. Even though, okay, yes, maybe we don't want to see the 10-inch pole with the nails and the feathers and the dildos, whatever. But what she says is you can't argue with that, right? So Chrissy and Chris, they become very close. They're in love. It's unstoppable. And this breakup between Genesis and Chrissy is very long, and like it has that Band-Aid has to be pulled off. Finally, Chrissy has the gut. Okay, the thing about Chrissy's, which pisses me off, like, there's this one time in the story where Genesis had like a suicide attempt, like took a bunch of pills, and she gets a phone call and she rushes down to the hospital, and the doctor's like, yeah, he took a bunch of pills. It wouldn't have killed him, but it's a cry for help, and it's just like he really makes her life miserable. And then he even, when they have this breakup, they're crying and everything, and he says to her, "You are my battery. I feed off of you." And then he switches and becomes violent, and he beats her up, like kicks her in the chest and punches her face. And he says to her, I'd never let you have killed my baby," when she had that abortion that he forced her to do. "I'd never let you have killed my baby if I had known you'd leave me." God, he's such a piece of shit. So finally, she goes over to the house and get all her stuff, because she's having a new life with Chris, and it's like this long drawn out thing. He grabs a knife, and she has to get, like, they're like struggling and like fighting, and she has to drive away in the car, and he's like chasing her down. It's the knife, like, she writes out the knife in his hand was when you burn into wood, like, it's burnt Kill. It says kill in the handle of the knife. So they break up finally, like, but it doesn't end there. They go on a tour to the States. They stay in San Francisco, and so Chrissy is doing music, and but she's also doing like, nude modeling and porn and stuff. And she wants to get like an even tan. So they're in Oakland staying at a friend's place, and she gets naked just for like, she's wearing a thong, whatever. And she's trying to get like a suntan. She's laying outside. They're staying in this like 2-story place in Oakland, kind of in the hills. And she's just laying in the sun, just kind of like half asleep, just kind of dozing, just feeling that sun. And she hears and feels a thump, like right by her head. And she opens her eyes and looks up and sees Jen way up on the second floor, like smiling. And she looks down. He just threw like a cement block off the second like staircase balcony right by her head, and it landed right by her head. And then someone from inside, she looks up, someone from inside comes in and pulls Genesis back in the house, like, you fucking stupid idiot, what the fuck are you doing? And then she says that no one ever mentioned it, no one ever brought it up, like, motherfucker, you tried to kill me, Anyway, the band eventually breaks up. It's just a mess. Genesis kind of like the very last show they did, he kind of had like this swagger, like, I'm the leader, I'm the front man, and it just wasn't cool anymore. So she quits and she starts a band with Chris, and it's called Chris and Cosey, and they put out a couple albums. On their second album, the cover, I think it's called Life, and the cover is of a photo scan of her pregnant. They're having a baby, and the music's pretty cool. Look that up. It's what is the name of that album? It's called Trance. No, that's the second one. It's called Heartbeat. Heartbeat meaning the baby's heartbeat. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So they're productive. They make music together, and I'm going to stop here because we're done with Genesis Peorage. We're done with the torture. We're done with like the torment. This guy is fucking out of his fucking mind, and now it's just Cosey Fanni Tutti just concentrating on her art, concentrating on her music, and she has her child. It was a natural childbirth, and she talks about how she didn't want any drugs, she didn't want anything, and she had like, it was so painful, like her the feeling of everything was so painful that it put her in this like state of a trance, This woman's very interesting. Just really just feels everything. I want to experience every single thing in the world, So anyway, that's where we'll stop right here. So she has a child with Chris. They're making music, and they're a happy little family, and they could say goodbye to a very, very abusive person. All right. Anyway, come back for more. If not, don't come back for no. Come back for more. I swear. I'm gonna try to wrap this up. And I'm gonna get back on track. Where like let's do a rock and roll band. Let's just do like something that's like radio. Like the contrary of throbbing gristle. I'm gonna find out what is the contrary of throbbing gristle. The flip side. Okay, come back for that. Stick through it. We're gonna wrap up Cosey Fanni Tutti. All right, thanks a lot. If you want anything. Send an email to jaysrockandrollstories at proton.me. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.